Greetings, my name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core to Core, my patrons, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor within the MMP POV of what a Pilates instructor is and is all about. Just 3 things today. It's like the day before yesterday, I had nothing to talk about. Maybe that was 2 days ago. But then all that great talk about biomechanics, and my number one is core new tension is real. So between you and me, in my opinion, from what I experience in my own body, from what I teach in hundreds, maybe thousands of others, right? Yeah, probably thousands. Coming from a perspective of making oppositional rotation between axes in the body, it's real and you can feel the difference. Go into teaser, lock knees, pointed toes, feel the weight of your legs, feel your whole distribution of load in your body. And then go to unlock knees with endpoint at metatarsals. Now that may take you out of this realm of thinking of yourself as a dancer with long, straight legs and pointed toes, like dancers have, but that's dance, that's not Pilates. The objective of Pilates is to develop the body uniformly, and to do that takes core new tension. Because it's not just about developing it to someday, it's about engaging it uniformly in the moment that you're in. And here I am giving you the information that I have to share with you that others do not have. In my notes I say core new tension is real. You use your imagination to make it. So here I am giving you knowledge. I'm talking, you're listening, we're both thinking. And if there's anything to know about what I'm saying, is you rotate here and you rotate here and you rotate here, and those and then knees and ankles and metatarsals, and the body is connected through that dynamic tension. If you can say rotate your head and I do, is that real? Well, rotate is conceptual. You use your imagination, but you get out of it what you can with your head, which is rotation at the ears. This information is like the sword and the stone. It's only through your grasp and your ability to pull out of the stone that is around it what is there with the integrity that exists within it. And as a sword that divides things in two, thinking. Core new tension is real. You use your imagination to make it happen, but it's no different than saying, lift your arm. And then, I lift my arm, but something had to happen before that, right? And isn't it imagining that you lift your arm that precedes doing it? It's the reality, in my view, of how your body makes the tension that matters. Because oppositional rotation between axes does what? Gives you two things. It gives you more uniform engagement of the musculature, and between the two endpoints gives you a literal sensation of alignment, because you're making tension. Coordinate tension is real. By imagining it, it helps you engage in it. And in doing so, just in that teaser example, there's sensation connected to the difference between locked joints and pointed toes, and other things as well. The head has a place to be. The arms are these exotic spirals, just like the legs, but more ample, supple, more range of motion. Number two. Well, my last thing on core new tension is real, is if you've been listening, KWYK. KWYK. I say that a lot. And it means know what you know. Because here I am giving you information, making a profession, espousing a point of view. And I encourage you to know what you know. And the TOD that I'm attaching to the end of that, KWYK, TOD. Know what you know implicitly means know what you know that others don't. If you don't use wisdom wisely, you set yourself up to be treated harshly, or rejected, or condemned. Right? So that's the end of number one. Number two, why just the presentation? I was lucky enough to have a long-time Pilates instructor listening, and there was so much to say and so hard to even try to stay on a subject. But the main thing I got across, I hope, was that I wanted her to learn to be a presenter. Because it's like, why be a presenter? Why just the presentation? Because the presentation is where the main distinction is between everything that you already know and can pretty much learn anywhere in terms of traditional Pilates through some word-of-mouth translation, through generations that lead back to someone that knew Joe, right? Besides the tradition, right? In that way, the presentation gives a listener the opportunity to watch something go by with little to no interest and no expectation of necessarily seeing anything that's impressive, which it might not be. It's where the value lies by focusing on the distinction in point of view. And by being a presenter, it sets, where did I say that? It sets Well, you stand out from the rest. That's what makes your view of Pilates unique from the MMP point of view and your awareness of CT. Right? If that doesn't appeal to you, or you don't want to do that, then by all means don't seek to make that distinction. But being a presenter, where the money's going to be in some generation to follow, is in offering an explanation to Pilates and by offering to make a presentation that you get paid for up front. I way encourage you to do that. Make it a game, make it whatever. Make the money not necessarily meaningful in amount, but meaningful in timing. You get paid in advance. Paid in advance. Aretha Franklin. Cash in the purse on the piano while she played and sang. Because all you're doing is making a presentation. That's as far as your promise to deliver goes. It's not that anybody will understand it or get it. It's not to be defended. It's just to be performed. It's a presentation. And that presentation is an explanation of two things. One that's biomechanical and one that's a point of view of Pilates. And as far as in making that presentation, it sets everything else up. It's this giant filter for the clients that you want versus everybody else that dismisses what you have to say. Right? That's why you do it. It's a promotion to more. And I go presenter, which is just explanation, to teacher, which is more explanation but formally explaining, right? More thinking. And then instructor, which is the doing, not the thinking. Right? So my task, my objective, I strive to be a sensational instructor. So the instructions that I give are sensational to the student, the mover, and hopefully perceptible as a means to finding a greater degree of control, to the point where they end up being able to reach for what they're looking for without me having to cue them at all. So number 3 title is that you have to paddle your little heart out. You have to paddle your little heart out. It's a great line. From Blue Crush, I think is the name of the movie, talking about catching a wave. And it's hard to explain if you haven't done it, but there's definitely this thing about if you don't paddle, if you're not going fast enough in your own right, the wave itself won't catch you up with it. It's you catching the wave. And to do that, you have to paddle your little heart out. And some of this reticence, it seems out there about anything new. It's human nature. Is, well, I'm not really going to get this, or I'm not really going to paddle for this, or I'm not going to reach to embrace this point of view. because I'm happy paddling where I'm at. See, it all depends, you know. There's no complacency in MMP because they're striving for ideal performance. My notes were, you want to survive? Question mark. You have to catch the wave. And in that sense, I've always talked about, or for a long time talked about, the Pilates tsunami, which is a wave, right? And the point I'm trying to make is, you can be as ambivalent as you want about MMP and CT and think that you know it well enough or that it's within your grasp and that you can surf it at will. But I really think there's a point in your effort to get better at what you do in the doing of Pilates and in acting as an instructor and teacher. There's a striving for that. Know what you know that others don't, and then try to survive with that, because life can't live forever. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Connect the dots. Catch the wave. Direct your thinking. Geist.